Hey, Miles here, milesbeckler.com, and welcome to the Level Up training. This video contains my personal goal achievement system that I've built and refined over 20 years. I call it the GST system, and this is part one of a two-part video series. Originally, it was for members only, so this was a premium video, but I've decided to break it out for you here because I want to help you achieve more success in your life, whatever that means. If it means more wealth, more free time, better relationships, better health, or really just all in on growing your business, this one process that I've discovered and mastered and fine-tuned over 20 years in my life is now yours. So be sure to watch this first video all the way through to understand the bits and pieces, the components, and how this GST, the goal achievement system, works. Then on the second video, which I will publish next, you will get access to a worksheet and you'll get walked through the process of kind of building out your personal worksheet so you can track your success along the process here. I thank you very much for your time. I really do wish you all the success in the world and enjoy the training. Welcome to the Level Up training. This video is going to reveal a specific process to help you transform your life so you can experience true and lasting fulfillment. In life, there is always another level, and this is applicable to every area of life, regardless of what you've already achieved. So in your financial life, in your health, your mindset, the creativity, the impact you're having on the world, your philanthropy, spirituality, your love relationships, your friend-based relationships, every single aspect and area of your life, there is another level. And when you begin to work and achieve goals in all of these different areas, that is where true transformation can emerge. So what is transformation? Well, it's defined as a metamorphosis during the life cycle of an animal. And metamorphosis is defined as a change of the form or nature of a thing or person into a completely different one by natural or supernatural means. The easiest example of this is the caterpillar that turns into the butterfly. And really, I want to break down the difference between transformation and achieving goals, because that caterpillar didn't set a goal to become a butterfly and go achieve it. Like, transformation is literally about becoming a whole new person. So achieving goals is about improving one area of life, and transformation is about literally recreating your life at the next level. So this difference is really kind of explained here as the enlightened philanthropist versus the successful marketer. Now, there's a time and a place to have a goal to become a successful marketer, but you'll see that you'll get the most fulfillment when you really elevate the other aspects of your life as well. And that successful marketer phase can lead you to the transformative place of being the enlightened philanthropist. If you have too much focus on one goal and one area of life, it can be extremely detrimental. And achievement does not always lead to fulfillment. Now, this slide here was actually challenging for me to create. This is a list of extremely successful people who went down the path of what I would call traditional success. And they at some point got to a point where they were so disappointed or depressed with the life that they had created that each one of these people has ended their own life. Robin Williams, one of the just best comedians and actors, Anthony Bourdain, who was living a lifestyle that millions and millions of people who envied, Chris Cornell, Kurt Cobain, Avicii, Chester Bennington, all amazing musicians with huge followings. Chester Bennington actually has a video on YouTube with his band Linkin Park. They've had over 1 billion views on one of their videos. Marilyn Monroe, obviously everyone knows who she is. Dave Mirra was one of the absolute best BMX riders. Vert, Ramp, Park, like that dude was a beast. And each one of these people were able to achieve great success in one area of their life, but it was lacking from the other aspects of life. And they literally made the horrific decision to end their life. And I bring this up because this is the real cost of going too focused on one specific area and not really focusing on transforming all aspects of your life to emerge to that next level of your being. So fulfillment really is the key. Here's a few quotes to really help this sink in. So Tony Robbins says, "Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure." Albert Einstein, "A life directed chiefly toward the fulfillment of personal desires will sooner or later always lead to bitter disappointment." Joel Osteen says, "Keep in mind that you'll have true happiness, true fulfillment, not living to get, but living to give." And Tony Robbins, again, because he's such a beast in this space, "To have an extraordinary quality of life, you need two skills: the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. And that's the big idea here from this training, is that when we get this achievement and fulfillment dialed in, your life will literally transform to levels that you can't even fully understand from where you are today. I want to help you get there. So that's what we're going to go through, is the process. Now, transformation leading to fulfillment. Improving one area of your life stems from achieving a goal. Achieving goals in many areas of your life leads to the ultimate transformation that we're after. So when you get the health goals dialed in, your wealth goals are dialed in, the impact you have on this world, your love and relationship goals, your creativity, when you get all of those things working and you level each one of those up through achieving goals in all areas of life, that's when you reach true fulfillment. And you're right now learning a process to achieve goals so we can open you to this ultimate transformation. So this is the GST method for achieving your goals. GST stands for goals, strategies, and tactics. So the goals are about what outcomes are you aiming for. These are specific outcomes in the specific areas of your life. The strategies is how do you believe you can best achieve that goal. The tactics level is what actions make up that specific strategy. So when we set a goal, an outcome that we're aiming for, and then you go find and choose a strategy you think is the fast track to achieving that goal, the tactics, the actual day-to-day actions within your everyday life are what are either leading you on the path to achieving your strategy, and then applying that strategy successfully for long periods of time is how you achieve your goals. Again, you do this in several areas of life. That's how you create the transformation. So we're going to start at the goal setting level. I'm going to give you some tips on setting goals. First of all, think about what positive change do you want to experience in 3 to 5 years. Now, most people are keenly aware of that number that they want to achieve, whether it's the 10 grand a month, the 30 grand a month, the 50 grand a month. That's an easy one for a lot of people, is the financial goals. But be sure you take time to think about the goals of your relationship, the goals of your family life, the goals of how much time you have, what kind of charitable contributions are you giving to this world. It's really important, even if you don't feel like you have the time, the energy, or the abundance to be donating, you still need to be aware of where you want to get in each and every level. If you're not currently in a relationship, describe the relationship that you want to create. If you are currently in a relationship, describe what the world looks like as that relationship elevates to the next level. When you're working on the money goal, because obviously the whole content and conversion membership program is designed to help you create a successful business, and that is going to, afford you the lifestyle, and that's where you create your income. But it's so important to remember that money is a byproduct of the value you create in the lives of others. And if you help people with very high value goals, that's a way to make lots of money. If you help lots and lots of people, high volumes of people with low to medium value goals and challenges in their lives, that's another way of earning income. So it's a factor of the amount of value you create in the lives of others and the number of others that you create that value in. Now, your goal needs to fire you up on an emotional level. Generally speaking, people will be able to be fired up on a monetary goal for a brief period of time, but there comes a time in your life when you maybe have achieved that financial goal, you've got your debt paid off, you're now comfortable. You need to be able to find new goals and new ways to motivate yourself, to get leverage on yourself, to keep going forwards. And generally, these are when the goals start to turn externally into helping others and being of service. A really good area for you to look at, and this is true in business and also in this whole kind of goal setting process, is what is wrong with the world, with your industry, or with yourself that you must shift. Right? So when I looked at the world of internet marketing before I started the YouTube channel for around the Miles Beckler brand and started content and conversion, I was so frustrated with the rubbish content being put out to simply promote a course that had subpar content. I bought a bunch of courses. I went through each and every one of them, and I thought these are all whack, and the person that's selling it is not offering any value at all. It truly pissed me off. Like I actually got frustrated. I was kind of complaining about it to my wife, and finally it was like, you know what? Obviously, I'm the guy who's supposed to do something about this. I'm gonna put out the best damn content YouTube's ever seen. And that fired me up, and I think you could probably hear it and feel it in my voice. Like that got me fired up, and that is where that next level of motivation and energy that I tapped into came from. So look at your world that's around you. Look at your industry that you're in and also yourself, right? What must shift in the next 3 to 5 years? These are really the things that get you emotionally charged. Those are the great places for you to look at to set your goals, because that's where you're going to find that energy required to break through. So here's a GST example from me, right? The goal was to become the most helpful internet marketer in the world. The strategy was to publish 1,000 great how-to videos on YouTube in 5 years. Now, where did I come up with this strategy? And I want to talk about strategy for a quick minute here. I modeled successful people, right? And you can always go look at people who have created a result that you seek to achieve in your life, and you can implement the strategy. It's very easy to go reverse engineer the strategy that you ultimately want to use to get to your goal. So for me, one of the people I was able to go look at is Gary Vaynerchuk. And Gary Vaynerchuk, when he grew Wine Library TV, he grew that. Essentially, he grew a physical wine store in either New York or New Jersey through doing YouTube videos where he just really tasted wines and talked about what he tasted. He did approximately 1,000 videos in 5 years. And that not only launched his wine business to an absolute astounding level of success. I believe he went from something like $3 million to $60 million in revenue per year in that business, but it also put him out on the main stage in the world of competent marketers, world of great marketers. So that was it. That was all I needed. I saw somebody who did it, 1,000 great how-to videos on YouTube in 5 years. Perfect. This is coming off the heels of working with my wife, who since 2009 through 2016, which is when this kind of goal sheet would be emergent for me, she published about 600 blog posts to her blog and was generating millions and millions and millions of visits. So I saw, from my family level that lots of great content published with keyword research and the basics of SEO mixed with, several years of grinding it out. Then I see someone like Gary Vaynerchuk producing the same result with the same method on YouTube. Perfect. This is how I'm going to do it. Then it's on to the tactics. How am I actually going to do this? Well, I had a cell phone in my pocket. So I started there, right? I literally got a cell phone holder from a $9.99 selfie stick from my local Staples. And that was where I started. I just put that on a little little tripod that I had, and I started there. Then I started doing webcam videos, right? So this is the other tactic. Then I started doing screen share videos. Then I started making slideshow-based videos. At one point, I started a Facebook group to try to share the videos. I ended up folding that because that tactic didn't stick around. It wasn't for me. Keyword research and SEO is one of the tactics. I tried more clickbait-like titles. I've tried a lot of very specific tactics in the thumbnail optimization world, right? So the tactics are the little actions and the little activities that ultimately support me in the strategy. So if you notice, all of these tactics here are directly related to publishing 1,000 great how-to videos on YouTube in 5 years. And my thought is, if I publish 1,000 great how-to videos on YouTube in 5 years, I'm easily going to be able to be looked at as the most helpful internet marketer in the world. Bingo. So let's look at how this worked for my wife. So for Melanie, and this is literally going back to 2009. This is not where she's at today. This is when she was just getting started. So her big goal was to become a world-renowned author and channel. The strategies was daily blogging plus growing her email list plus self-publishing. The tactics were keyword research and SEO. We tried doing audio recordings of her spoken word and then transcribing those audios to get the written content. Using pop-ups and landing pages to grow the list, giving away an MP3 in exchange for the opt-in. Very aggressive in those days. Again, this was like 09 and 09, 010, 11. Very aggressive Twitter and Facebook marketing. Neither of those are really active today. Publishing MP3s as slideshows on YouTube to grow that list and to grow that audience. If you look at her YouTube channel, you'll see that I don't think she did a video with her face on the video until probably about 2013 or 14, so about 4 or 5 years. Adding audio files to the podcast feed to get her content showing up on the iTunes podcast directory. And multiple 90-day blogging challenges, right? Like I talk a lot about doing 90-day blogging challenges and 90-day YouTube challenges, and that's not a one and done and then you've made it type thing. That means you just got to the starting line. She's done multiple 90-day blogging challenges. She's done video challenges, and we leverage that big time to really move forward. So again, notice all of these different tactics here, and I could list 10 times what I showed here, are all pointing directly towards our main strategies, which are all focused on achieving our goal. So when we're doing the audio files, we're creating an audio file and we're transcribing that to create the written word, the blogging, we decided to repurpose that audio that we had to YouTube and to the podcast directory because we had just made an audio file. Might as well get as much reach for it. So every piece really supports the strategy, and then applying that strategy for a long enough period of time, and we do achieve said goal. So this is how goals, strategies, and tactics all work together. You rarely want to change your goals. These are like a long-term focus, and really, I say 3 to 5 years. I think it's probably better off being a 5 to 10 year goal. But you can definitely revisit and revise your goal after a few years to make sure you're still on track. Life changes, we change, our life circumstances change, and it's good to adjust as we move forward. Adjusting the strategy is going to happen a little bit more often than changing your goals, but still very seldom, because you need to really stay focused on one strategy for a long period of time to get the power of compounding on your side. You see, when my wife had finished her first 100 blog posts, her website really didn't get that much traffic. When she finished 200, it got a little bit more, but by the time she had finished blog post number 300 and blog post number 400, the site was really gaining some massive momentum, because at that point, we were one of the foremost leaders and one of the foremost frequent publishers in her space out of everyone online. Just like me taking that approach to get to the 1,000 videos. As of this recording, I'm a little bit over 450 videos. In my first 90 days, I did 90 videos. 120 days, I did 120 videos. I only had 500 subscribers. 120 videos, 500 subscribers. Today, I've done 450 videos and I've got about 80,000 subscribers. So I'm getting more results now for actually the same or less effort. And that's the power of compounding. The tactics are interchangeable, and you need to iterate these as needed based on the feedback that you're getting, right? Are these individual tactics working? You need to have the patience to allow the search engines to pick it up and to allow your content to get indexed and for you to grow your authority. But when we started seeing the signs that Twitter reach was declining and Twitter was getting spammed out by a bunch of bots, we reallocated that energy to a different platform. When Facebook's organic marketing system really started to fall apart and we started to get drastically less reach for the same effort on Facebook, we reallocated that energy. We stopped on that tactic and we started implementing the Pinterest tactic. So this is how you iterate the different tactics based on the feedback that you're getting. So achievement of your goals is emergent from the long-term application of your strategy. This is not a linear or mathematical process. I wish it was, but that's just not how it works. It's not A plus B plus C equals, your desired result. That's not how it works. You actually need to get really good at A, and then you need to get really good at B, and then you need to get really good at C, and out of that, what you truly desire emerges. So an example of this is someone who decides that they want to run Facebook ads into a funnel, and then from the funnel, they want to sell some sort of coaching and consulting. So the different A, B, C in this situation is you're going to have to learn how to run Facebook ads, the actual technical side of the Facebook ads platform. You're going to have to learn how to build out funnels. You're going to have to learn copywriting is going to be one of the main keys for you in that situation. You're going to have to learn email marketing, and you're going to have to learn to deliver a promise, deliver what you offer. So out of all of those things, you actually have to just keep working and tactically working within each one of those segments and areas, and eventually you find an alignment of principles, alignment of ideas, an alignment of new skills and tactics within each one of those, and success emerges. As I stated before, you want to model proven strategies and tactics to increase your odds of success. So just like I said, I saw my wife create a lot of content and get great traffic on the search engine that way. I saw Gary Vaynerchuk do the same thing with the YouTube search engine. Perfect. I'm not much of a writer, so I'm not going to force myself to write because that's too difficult. I'm going to go do what Gary did on YouTube. I'm going to go all in on YouTube and trust that this is going to work. And I can tell you right now, it sure is. Time is the ultimate key ingredient here. Really, you have to apply your strategy and your tactics for long periods of time. It always takes longer than we want. We are an instant gratification society. We want it yesterday. We want it now. But the truth is that the ultimate rewards of creating success that you desire comes from years. I'm talking 3 to 5 years of intense amounts of work, but the income you create and the time freedom you create that will allow you to focus on goals in other areas of your life is absolutely transformational. You must apply the right strategy successfully for long periods of time. Cool. So deeper into this, the success with the tactics comes from building new competencies. Now I'm going to use competencies through this. You could interchange that word with the word skills, but I think skills has a little bit of a connotation to it. So I want to use competencies. You don't have to become one of the best in the world at something, but you do have to become competent at many areas. So success with the tactics comes from building new competencies. You got to get competent with keyword research if you want to do blogging. You got to get competent on WordPress. You got to get competent on Thrive themes. There's just a bunch of little nuts and bolts that you have to get competent with. Success at your strategy comes from combining many competencies. So if you are a blogger who wants to drive traffic into an organic traffic funnel on a Thrive Themes website, that's exactly what you need to do. Your competencies need to grow around becoming a great writer so you can write content that people love to read, doing keyword research and SEO. You got to get competent in both of those. Your theme in WordPress, you got to get competent on both of those platforms. Then ultimately how to get people to opt in, right? Like those are the different competencies. And when you link your competencies together, that is when success at your strategy emerges. Your goal achievement comes from executing that one strategy for a long time. I've said it 3 times now. I've probably got it at least 2 or 3 more times in this presentation. That is the most important takeaway, is that goal achievement comes from executing one strategy that's proven to work for others for a long enough period of time to allow your true success to emerge. And you want to apply this GST to all areas of your life to truly transform your life. So you can look at the health side of things. What are you consuming? What are you eating? What are you doing actively? How many days a week are you going to the gym? How many days a week are you going outside for a walk, right? If you're into the spirituality side, how often are you meditating? How often are you taking time for family? How often do you schedule family time into your world? Your relationships, you can apply the same exact principle. Are you scheduling date nights in every single week just because? Are you scheduling movie nights in every single week just because? Do you have dedicated scheduled times to spend time with your spouse or partner or significant other, just like you have dedicated times to work on your business? So you can apply this same goal strategy tactics level to all areas of your life, and that is when the transformations can truly emerge. So out of this, right, there's a lot of moving parts. The transformation is the top level, the goals, the strategies, the tactics, and what makes up the tactics are the competencies. And everything hinges on these competencies. Everything hinges. Your relationships with your spouse. How competent of a listener are you? How competent of a communicator are you, right? How competent are you at romancing them? Those are the keys, right? But we're going to keep it more focused on the business side. I had to make sure there's enough reminders in here that this is about implementing it towards all areas of your life, because that's where you truly get the fulfillment that you desire. So competencies are what lie between you right here where you are listening to this and where you want to be. Long-term competencies are so much better than short-term ones. Here's a specific example: SEO, search engine optimization versus Snapchat. Did some people grow big platforms in Snapchat's boom and bust cycle that we saw in 2016, 17, and 18? Absolutely. Undoubtedly, there were some people who did. But the number of people who built noteworthy, long-lasting platforms on Snapchat is tiny. Very, very, very small number, and Snapchat is dead at this point in time. So SEO, on the other hand, is something that people who have been working effectively using simple competencies, right? I'm not talking best in the world, just competent SEOs who know where to put a couple of keywords on a page and they just go forward boldly and they've stuck with it. They're still creating massive amounts of traffic. This is why my wife's website generates over 8 million visits to her site every single year, is because she focused on the long-term competency and the long-term strategy. Now, when you get your long-term strategy firing, you can add on other competencies, because as we said, success with your strategy is implementing your competencies over long periods of time. So right now we're doing SEO, but we're adding on a lot of Pinterest marketing is that big one that we're added on because we have enough free time. But you might be all in on just SEO and blogging, and that's all you have time for. Great. Stick with it there. You're going to get more competent with those tasks to the point where what took you 4 hours now takes you 2. And with that freed up 2 hours, you add on another competency. So be really strategic in choosing your competencies and get them to work together. So the person who wants the Facebook ads funnel, learning copywriting is absolutely key. If you really want to grow a proper funnel, a cold traffic funnel with Facebook ads to grow a business online, you have to become an absolute master of copywriting. And that's where you need to be strategic in which competencies you choose to go after so they work together. And some method of content creation is required. I don't care if you focus on audio only and you're doing the podcast thing. I don't care if you're doing video or if you're doing the written word, but one of those 3 content creation competencies are absolutely required for your long-term success. I'll go as far as saying that once you get competent in one, you got to learn how to add on the next and the next eventually. So how do you choose what your next competencies are, right? Since it's all hangs and hinges on competencies, how do you know what the next one is? Well, start with what you have. What skills and competencies do you already have? What's already working for you? Take a moment to assess where you're at and what you're working on. I want to give you a real world example from me because I've just made a little bit of a transformation or a little bit of a kind of a new strategy, I guess is a better way of putting it in the context of this video. For 2.5 years, I've been putting out my videos. Started with a daily video, then it went to 3 videos a week. Worked to get that content on all 3 pillars, right? So I've got the blog content now coming off of my videos, and I've got the podcast content, and I'm putting out my videos. But I never really got to the point where I was publishing a lot of new and unique content on my blog. Whereas I've been daily emailing every day since February, which as of this recording is about 10, 11 months of daily emails. Now, today, and as of just a couple of weeks ago, I've started taking my daily emails and adding them to a new category on my blog. So today, my blog is actually growing faster with more content than it ever has before. I haven't stopped making my videos. I haven't stopped getting my videos on the podcast. I haven't stopped getting my videos in written form on my blog. But I've added on something new to all of this because I freed up enough time and I'm doing that new competency, that new skill, flexing that muscle of daily emails. Well, I might as well maximize my returns on that content I'm creating. Bingo. That's what I've now created. And that's how I added it on because I looked at where I was doing these daily emails. I still want my blog to grow more because Google has billions of searchers per day who would love to find something that I talk about, I assume, maybe millions, right? Like there's a big gap between where I'm at and where I could be with that traffic. So more content's the answer. So that's what I came up with because that's looking at what am I doing? What skills and competency do I have right now? My daily email. And then how can I leverage that for my business to achieve my strategy? Then be sure you're taking time to consider where your audience actually spends their time. This is so important because if you know your audience is 18 to 35-year-old guys and you're all in on Pinterest marketing, you're flat out missing the boat, right? Like Pinterest marketing can work wonderfully, but it generally works best for female demographics in their 30s to 50s and beyond, right? So you need to make sure that your content is going out to where your audience spends their time. If you're in the business to business world, sure, they spend some time on YouTube, but they possibly spend more time on LinkedIn than they do on YouTube. So that's really important to, when you go to decide what your next competencies are, is to make sure they're pointing in the direction of where your perfect audience is. And then the idea we talked about a moment ago, which was what competencies work well together. So if you're a business to business consulting, blogging, copywriting, and LinkedIn marketing work really well together to strategically connect you with those people who are searching on LinkedIn, those people who are searching on Google, looking for ideas around that which you consult on. If you're a personal trainer, videos plus YouTube lives plus Facebook lives and webinars all work together, right? It's a lot of video skills. So your sales presentation, which is a webinar, is a video skill. Your Facebook lives and your YouTube lives can actually be done at once through restream.io. Your videos that you do video trainings. Here's how to do this exercise. Here's how to do that circuit. Those videos go up on YouTube on their own. And all of this is getting you a massive amount of reach, and your webinars are that conversion moment to help you bring in new personal training clients. If you're a makeup artist, Instagram, YouTube videos are great ways to show off that kind of skill, to show off the how-to stuff. Plus, Pinterest would fit right in with this, and you could go almost all in on the social with adding on the YouTube how-to videos, and that would be a great way to build an audience around being a makeup artist. Whether you're selling to professional makeup artists and you're teaching them new skills that they can apply to their clients, or whether you're going directly to the consumers, those people who just want to learn how to do cool makeup stuff, right? That's a perfect way to connect with them, because in theory, they're on Instagram and Pinterest, plus your YouTube videos can get chopped up into little Instagram tidbits and into Pinterest videos, right? All of those platforms are video friendly. If you're a pet trainer, copywriting plus Facebook ads plus videos can be a great way. You make these Facebook sales videos, you run it on Facebook ads. The copywriting could actually take them to a video webinar. It could take them to a video sales page. And pet owners are notoriously amazing at how much time, money, energy they will invest in their relationship with their pets. So that's a great combination of competencies: copywriting, getting good at videos, Facebook ads. You can easily identify pet owners on Facebook. You can easily create, if you're a good copywriter, a video sales letter. You can easily run a video inside of a Facebook ad. Bingo. Those are the competencies that would work well in that situation. So being mindful of what competencies work really well together. Then there's the idea of, how do you get to the high potential competencies? How do you get those competencies that are really going to move the needle? And generally, it's not necessarily about choosing the right ones. I mean, that does play a part, but it's really about the repetition. It's about flexing the muscle over and over enough to really build that muscle. So from where you are right now, what is the next best competency for you? And if you've decided that it's copywriting, great. If you've decided that it's YouTube videos, great. Now go all in. Go all in on it. This is why I love the 90-day challenge. The 90-day challenge just forces you to go through the process of that competency. And within the competency, and you could choose either YouTube videos, for example, right? There's keyword research. There's how do I do my lighting? How do I dial in my audio? What camera? Like there's all these little pieces. How do I deliver? Do I use a notepad? Do I use a teleprompter? Do I just wing it and shoot off the hip? Like all of those questions get answered when you do the act 90 days in a row. Then on the copywriting example, for another example. So you want to do a 90-day challenge on copywriting. The great copywriters, I would go get Dan Kennedy's Ultimate Sales Letter book. Making Ads Pay by John Caples is a fantastic book. Eugene Schwartz's book, Breakthrough Advertising. And then writing out one great old school sales letter every single day for 90 days. That process, along with reading the books and understanding the little intricacies, will make the whole it'll demystify the world of sales copy, because you're going to read the ideas in the book that you're reading. So an hour a day of reading and then 2 hours a day of hand writing out those sales letters. By the end of 90 days, you will be far beyond 80 to 90% of all people who have ever dabbled in copywriting just by taking those specific actions. If you do it once a week and you maybe read you read for an hour a week and you kind of spend 1 hour a week kind of writing, it's going to take you years to get competent. But if you want to boost those competencies and really crank them up to their potential fast, you got to go all in. Then I really recommend developing one new key competency at a time so you can really gain confidence with it. Now, within the competency, like say videos is what you're focused on. Sure, there's a lot of little sub-tactics, but really go all in on this idea. So for me, when I started the YouTube channel, August of 2016, I did not add on email marketing, which was the first kind of add-on that I did, until February of 2017. So from August of 16 till February of 17, that's 6 months, I did nothing but videos. I didn't feel like I had it figured out. It still took me all the energy in the day that I had spare because I was still building my wife's business, right? We migrated her site off ClickFunnels during that period of time, built out our whole Thrive Themes membership area in that part of time. There was an amazing amount of work going on. I kept all my ads running through all that time for her business. So out of all of that, I had enough time in the day to do one video a day every single day for the first 4 months. Then I shifted over to 3 videos per week. That was all I could handle. Then at the 6-month mark, I was ready to add my next competency. I had gained confidence in the process of creating the videos, all those little tactics that build up to the competency to where I was a competent video publisher. It was there. I had the muscle memory. It became unconscious. I was unconsciously competent at that point in time. I was confident as a video creator. bingo, what's that next thing I'm adding on? And for me, it was my list building, then it was emailing, then it was getting the blog, and on and on and on. And there was always a lag, 3 months, 6 months of just all in on that next competency I'm bringing in. Cool. Once I committed to the email, I didn't stop doing my YouTube daily videos. Those were second nature. Those kept coming out. But now I was just, all of my life energy was focused on, God, how do I do this email thing? I've supported my wife in email marketing for years, but I'd never written the emails. I'd never written my own autoresponder sequence, right? I just helped my wife put it together, which is the easy part, to be honest with you. So I had to go through all of those challenges. What do I write? How do I do this? And it took months and months and months. Once that was good and I was running, it's like, okay, I got a little breathing room. My emails aren't taking all day anymore. Now I can add on the blogging competency. And because I gained confidence in the email, and then I worked to gain confidence in blogging. Now, 2.5 years later, I'm actually a confident blogger at this point too. 3 years ago, I just thought I could not blog. I could not write. It was a total limiting belief. Now I've got it and I love it and I'm having a ton of fun. So grow your next high potential competency and just keep building confidence. Remember, when you get competent with something, confidence is what emerges from it. This path leads you to success with your strategy, and then you stick with that long enough and you will ultimately achieve your goal. And then you do this enough times over in the different areas of life, you will transform your life into something that will absolutely amaze you. So I want to show you a little bit about my growth through marketing competencies. I'm going to run through this relatively quick because I covered parts of this, but I started making money online with social media and affiliate marketing in 2003. That lasted until 2004, until they changed the terms of service. I had it all wrong from the get-go, so it went down to zero. So then literally 6 years to get back on the horse with a digital business. I tried real estate investing. I tried a bunch of network marketing, a bunch of scams, a bunch of get rich quick, blah, blah, blah. I wasted 6 years thinking the grass was greener somewhere else. And I didn't just go double down on what I had learned from my biggest mistake. So then in 2010, actually 2009, Melanie and I started our website. All in on digital marketing, which started out with content marketing because we had no money to advertise at all. So SEO, keyword research, the basics. Then we learned list building. Then we learned how to sell information products, the shopping carts, all those bits and pieces. In about 2014, I added on Facebook advertising. And that's what we grew through about 2016. Then I wanted to learn how to teach what I know, right? So up until 2016, I was doing the work. Then in 2016, I was like, okay, now I want to teach what I know. That's a whole new level to the game, which is what we just covered from when I started making videos in August of 2016. Then growing my email list, you heard that. Syndicating out my content was the next one. It took several months to dial in that system. Daily email broadcasts, I started in February of 2018 until present. Literally, it wasn't until the end of December that I started adding those to my website, right? So I'm doing these daily emails for 10 months. Wow, 10 months before I had the brilliant idea, I should put this content somewhere else, right? I just wasn't thinking about it. I was solely focused on building the competency. Then writing the doing copywriting for the content and conversion sales letter. That was July of 2018. Now learning how to do these types of deep dive course creations. This is where a lot of my life energy is going, is how do I create better, more impacting courses that are actually going to help you experience the transformation that I've promised in that sales letter and that I want to see you have, right? I really actually want you to help you transform your life in a way that you not only get that 10 grand, 20, 30 grand a month income, but you love your life. You have time freedom. You have loving relationships with your family members. You're in great health. Your mindset is spot on, and you're looking for ways to help change the world for the better. That's where I'm at. So how do I now create these types of courses in a way that get that sort of impact? And I want to talk real quick about my growth through other types of life competencies, because that was all in on the main idea around marketing, right? That was the marketing and the money side, which is what I've promised to teach you here in content to conversion, but really that fulfillment and making sure that your mindset's square and that you don't fall in the trap of depression from making all the money in the world and buying all these things and it still feels like rubbish, because that unfortunately is the trick to a consumer lifestyle. So I started meditating in 2004 after several failed relationships. I had just a string of breakups and just really challenging, unhealthy relationships. And I was like, whoa, something's going on, something's wrong. I don't even remember where I got tipped off to meditation, but I found these meditations that aren't even sold anymore. And I loved it. It felt good. So I just started meditating in the evenings. Then shortly after I did that for a little bit, I went to college in New Mexico. I gave up on dating completely. I decided I was just going to go study interpersonal communications situations. I was going to learn how to communicate better. This was part from a class I took in college, part from just some books and DVDs that kind of fell into my lap. Out of that, I really got inspired about the law of attraction, the world of metaphysics. One book that really kind of put me on my path in that world was the Celestine Prophecies, which is a fiction book. It's a great read. It just got me thinking about energy and how people interact. And I saw a lot of the things that happened in my high school that I didn't love. I just went all in. Law of attraction, metaphysics, consciousness, how the world works, quantum physics, about 2 years, just deep dive study. It was after this that I hadn't been dating at all. I actually met Melanie. And at that point, I had built myself up to a person that I liked myself. I was no longer completely self-destructive and self-sabotaging. I was no longer the punk ass who I was in 2003 and earlier. And I'm comfortable saying that because I was a total punk ass for a while. And I learned how to love, and I learned how to be loved in 2009 through today. And I still work on that side, and so does Melanie. We work very hard on that. Spiritual development came after that. I self-study on just reading all of the books I could get my hands on, going to classes, going to seminars, learning from local teachers. Then I hit that wall when I went flat broke, had to move back in with my parents. So I took on the how to manage money, right? How do I not go flat broke again was literally where that stemmed from. That's ongoing for sure, but it took until about 2014 till I could literally get to the point where I was like not borrowing money from my parents anymore. And for the record, I was like 33 at that point or something. So yeah. And then improving my diet and getting exercise routines going on. I really was negligent of that for a very long time. Something I still keep in mind to this day. Learning how to invest, right? Once I started creating a surplus, my money management was working right. Now I'm creating now how do I invest this? How do I get my monies to make more monies for me? Now it's how do I reforest land and start to protect land through trusts? I was able to obtain 20 acres of forested land. Somebody, the timber barons came and cut the timber down 30 years ago. And I'm going to now reforest a piece of land and learn how to move that into a trust and start to protect wild lands and to protect nature habitat, because that's that next level. So this is really where I want to get you to, but most people can't think about these things until they figure out the money game. So we got to do all of them, and true fulfillment comes from working with and on all of them. And transformation ultimately creates a new person. The Miles Beckler here right now, today, talking to you is not the same person as in 2003. Now, the science proves that every single body part within our body system completely replaces itself, right? The way that cells divide and the old cells die off and new cells come in, like literally, I think it's like every 9 years. There's a statistic, you can easily find it, that our body is actually regenerating in ourselves. But even on a supernatural level, as that definition of metamorphosis said in the beginning, we are actually creating a new person. And that's when I say that the Miles Beckler here to you today is not the same person as in 2003. In 2003, I cared about one person. It was me. How do I get what I need? And this Miles here today, I'm able to let that just be what is and trust, and I'm all about helping. How can I create the greatest impact in the world? And that is an absolute transformation. Now, some of the goals that I've accomplished stemmed from frustrations, right? So like when I hit that wall and I ran out of money completely, had to go move back in with my parents, that level of disgust, and that was absolute disgust in myself at that moment in time. That's where I found the motivation to not only dig deeper on the business. You've probably heard the business growth for Melanie and I, but that was when I committed to I'm going to figure out this money game, because I am never going flat broke again. I'm never going all in on anything again, and I'm never going flat broke. And that's when I learned about emergency accounts and really just how to create a stable financial kind of situation and get a good relationship with money. And others came from desires. When I gave up on dating completely and was like, I'm just going to go all in personal development. I'm going to read the books, The Road Less Traveled. I'm just going to do my time to really learn what is going on in my head and why do I keep having these repeated failed relationships. That was because I really truly wanted a loving relationship that was supportive, that would help me kind of craft that next level to my life. So some come out of desires, some come out of frustrations. Every competency requires a separate learning curve. I don't care if you're learning how to listen to be able to communicate better with your mate, or if you're learning how to implement Facebook ads or make YouTube videos. They all have a learning curve, and you need to go all in on that learning curve. That's why I love the 90-day challenges. Even if you want to lose weight, right? There's a learning curve to that. How do I portion control? How do I eat less? Okay. How do I burn more energy throughout the day? There's a learning curve. You park at the back of the parking lot and you take an extra 300 steps in when you show up to Walmart or wherever, there's all these little competencies and each one has its own learning curve. When you get a lot of different competencies going on that work together, that's when you create what you want. And a lot of these competencies are actually learned in tandem. So although I stated clearly that I want you to go all in on one competency, let's say you're going all in on blogging, that actually is built up of many ones, right? There's keyword research, you're going to get competent there. There's the basics of WordPress. There's the basics of SEO. All of those pieces you're going to get competent with. So you're going to learn a lot of them in tandem. And the transformation of becoming a new person, really, as you achieve goals in many areas of your life, that's when you achieve the transformation. That's when life starts to get absolutely magic. And in this process, aspects of your old life must actually die out for the new you to emerge. The caterpillar does not survive when that butterfly emerges, right? Like it just doesn't. And that's what I said, the old Miles, the 2013 Miles living on a beach in Santa Monica, like that guy is not here anymore. And that's a good thing for our world. But the comfort of your old life does actually battle the desire for your new life. You can actually get a little bit of an internal and even sometimes an external conflict, right? So what I mean by this is if you are currently working a day job and you actually have some really good relationships, there's aspects of that that you will absolutely miss. You will be sad the day you leave. You might have more joy for the fact that you now create enough money with your side hustle that you don't have to go back to that office anymore. But there is going to be an aspect of you that is saddened and will maybe feel grief and loss because you're no longer going to be going there anymore because your life is totally going to transform, right? I haven't showed up to an office building for 10 years at this point in time. And there's some interesting camaraderie that I'm missing out on in this situation. But you can find new ways to fill those types of gaps. So this is mentioned in here because I want you to be ready for it. And I want you to know that the mental game is the key. Another thing that you'll probably find is that some relationships just don't withstand the test of time. And that's okay. Some of the people I hung out with and some of the people I spent time with back in 03, 02, 01, like I don't really hang out or see them anymore. And that's okay because now I'm living a new life that's in a new way. And I'm okay with that. And I miss them sometimes and I drop them texts from time to time and I hop on the phone from time to time. And it always kind of blows my mind of just the change, the metamorphosis that I've been through. So just know that there is a potential for internal and external conflict. It's not really a good thing or a bad thing. It just is what it is. It's kind of a natural reaction to this process, and keeping your mental game steady, keeping yourself focused on your reasons why you want to create these transformations is absolutely key. So the old you and the new you. Now, the aspects of the old you or the you right now can and will support who you are becoming. Right? So there are aspects of the Miles Beckler I was back then who supported me into growing who I am now. And again, you might miss aspects of your old life and you may even experience grief in this situation because you're creating and entering a whole new world with new rules. And the best way for me to kind of like show you this is that transition from employee to manager to self-employed to business owner to investor. Now, I was an employee for a very large corporation that was run by Hallmark. I was a customer support representative for about 4 years. The manager of that department got pregnant and she had maternity leave right through our busy season. We sold greeting cards, thank you cards, Christmas cards. So it was right during the Christmas season when she was out on her maternity leave. I stepped up as manager. Totally different world, totally different set of rules for me to play by, different politics in the office place from being the customer service rep to being the manager over a department of 30 people at that point in time. Then the transition to self-employed. I was able to bring some of the aspects of what helped me as a good employee, my work ethic. I was able to bring some of the aspects of what helped me as a manager, my ability to hire people and interview people and really grow my team. But as self-employed, it's a new world. There's all sorts of new challenges I did not know about, like paying taxes, quarterly tax payments. And there's way more than that, right? If as an employee, you show up, you punch your clock, generally speaking, you'll get your paycheck. As a self-employed individual, if you don't hunt, you don't eat. It's that simple. So how to go strum up business, how to market myself, how to attract clients, how to build relationships with long-term clients, how to get referrals, all these new things I had to learn. Then there's the level of business owner, which is now I'm not necessarily the one who's hitting the feeder bar to grow this business. How do I put teams and automations and teammates and individuals in place to then grow the business outside of my time so I can focus on creating this kind of content for you. And then there's the idea of investor, which that's a whole crazy different world that has even different rules that I'm now learning at this point in time. So you're literally like working your way through different worlds, and each world has different rules. So be ready for that and know that when you leave one world, there's going to be aspects you might miss. Some people, when they get to self-employed and business owner, they're like, man, that steady paycheck was so nice. But then you hit a point where you're bringing in that 30 grand a month, and all of a sudden you're starting to tuck 15, 20 grand a month away in your investments. And then there's a different feeling of like, okay, I'm moving up to this next world. This is kind of fun, but wow, what do I do here? And it's just an ever evolving process. So your long-term success is really, really solidified when you build competencies, because you will always have a fallback plan. What I mean by this, when you take the time to truly build competencies around keyword research, search engine optimization, how to write great blog posts that are optimized for the search engines, how to lay them out on WordPress, right? How to do the basics of graphics on whether Canva or whatever software tool you're using for your graphics, and you're able to create good quality blog posts, and you're able to drive traffic, and you're able to connect with the search engine, and that game works, you are a valuable asset for any small business in your area. Now, here's the thing. You may want to go apply those skills for local businesses to generate more cash flow more quickly, but you may not. You may want to keep all of that energy focused on growing your asset and your business so you can achieve your goals and ultimately hit that transformation more quickly. When I was getting going, Melanie and I had generated a fair bit of traffic. About 2010, we were getting 30, 40,000 visits per month. I started posting about it on social media, and all of a sudden people were like, hey, I got a friend who just started a coffee roasting company. Can you build him a website? Sure. Hey, I got a friend who does this. Can you help them out? One dude was building custom aquariums out of like New Jersey or something, right? So all these little things started to line up. And I didn't want to work in the office anymore. So I went to doing services instead of working for the boss and the job in the cubicle at that point in time. And that bridged the gap. That's why I was able to go so quickly from being kind of flat broke living with my parents in 2009 to late 2010 being 100% fully online, was because I added that on. But those hours distracted me from growing my long-term asset with Melanie, which actually slowed my process to getting that website fully built, because it took 8-10 hours a day each and every day to work on my client work to pay the bills. So really, I just want to let you know that the byproduct of building the competencies is you becoming a more skilled and a more valuable individual. You add on the copywriting skills, you add on Facebook advertising if that's in your future, you add on all these little things, and you just become a marketing weapon that can be implemented and applied to any business out there. So when you build something based on actual competencies, if for some reason that falls apart, your fallback plan is you've got the skills. You can go recreate that again because you did it the right way. You didn't find some loophole that allowed you to click here and do this and do that, and all of a sudden you made a little flash in the pan income like I did in 2003 that completely disappears and sends you into alcohol-induced depression because you thought you were on top of the world and you went literally to rock bottom. I didn't build any skills in that phase, which is why it took me literally 6 years to get back on that horse. But today, if it all came crumbling down, I know exactly what to do. And like, I wouldn't even have a hiccup at all. And you will build this yourself when you focus on growing and building these competencies, gaining confidence with them. Having a big why, something that's more than money, is absolutely key to maintaining your motivation long term. You got to have leverage on yourself when it's about your family, it's about your relationships, when it's about the charities or your community or something. You, generally speaking, you need to have a purpose that is greater than you, a purpose that is greater than consumerism. If the big house in that neighborhood and the car with that badge on it motivates you, great, go for it. At some point, it probably won't motivate you anymore, and you're going to have to think about those bigger picture ideas. That is the path to true fulfillment. Problem solving and great communication are absolutely just required competencies on every level. Communication with yourself, communication with your spouse, communication with your family, your vendors, your friends, your employees, your teammates. Communication is so powerful. And problem solving, like the path of becoming a successful entrepreneur, is just filled with challenge and problem after challenge and problem. So getting comfortable at the process of identifying the problem and literally learning how to become a problem solver, that is a competency that you can build that will be of great service to you long term. And be gentle with yourself. It's a long path. You're going to go through the learning curves over and over and over. Just like I decided to jump into YouTube in 2016. Oh my gosh, I was at ground zero. Here I was thinking I was pretty good at the internet marketing game, and it was very difficult to get started on YouTube from ground zero. I built that up. I got through that learning curve, took about 6 months. Email marketing. Oh my gosh, my wife's been doing this forever. This is so difficult. Wow, I'm just terrible at this. And I started and I went through the learning curve because I did a 90-day challenge there, then the blog, then the podcast, and now more emails and on and on. And now I'm doing these content for you in these videos. So just be gentle with yourself. It is a long path, repeated learning curves. Challenges are normal. You're going to hit bumps on the wall. Be sure to spend time in the forums, get a mastermind group out of the forum, join up with other people who are on the same path. We're all going through the same types of stuff. Today, with my business, the way it is and everything we've got going on, I face bigger challenges more often than I did when I was getting started. They don't stop. I've just gotten better at solving them and better at maintaining a kind of level head through the challenge to see it done. So on a final note, remember that competencies are how you implement the tactics. Getting confidence in the competencies is how you kind of get through the learning curve, get to where you're working on that next tactics. Your relentless execution of the tactics are how you implement the strategy. Remember, it goes GST. So we start with the tactics support the strategy. Then you get your strategy running and you successfully execute it for long enough and you achieve your goal. That's the third part. Then achieving the goals in all of the different areas of your life is what ultimately leads to that transformation. The next steps, we've got another video coming up next, and you've got an actual worksheet to fill out. So I want you to go at the bottom of this, below this video, inside of the forums, you're going to find the GST Roadmap Worksheet, and you're going to get a link to the GST Roadmap Workshop video. Wow, it was a mouthful. So what you're going to do is you're now going to fill out your own personal map. This is going to take all these ideas we've just swam around in, and I want you to get focused, and I want you to get them out of your head onto a piece of paper that is going to act as your personal roadmap. So this is the GST roadmap. When you're done with it, it's something you're literally going to hang on the wall near you, and it is going to keep you focused day in, day out. Every minute of every day, you're going to be focused on the right tactics, the right strategy, the right goals, so you can achieve the right kind of transformation that you desire in your life. This will be a financial transformation for you, but it will also be well beyond the finances when you focus this and apply this on all aspects of your life. And I can tell you, true fulfillment in life comes from a lot more than the money. True fulfillment comes from health. It comes from well-being. It comes from loving relationships. It comes from friends. You can create an amazing life filled with fulfillment. You can transform into that, and this GST is the path. Thank you very much for your time. Go grab the worksheet, and I'll see you on the next video, which is the Roadmap Workshop video. Cheers.